Can you be spiritual and still engage with the news? I am someone who wants to be informed and responsible, yet also someone who thinks it's really important to protect my energy and also to stay in alignment. This is a tension that I've been sitting with for quite some time. I think we can all agree on that the world is seemingly dropping into a state of being which is even more chaotic than we have ever experienced before. So, how important is it that we are engaging with the news and also what is happening around the world? I am seeing some discourse from other content creators and spiritual teachers online that we shouldn't engage with the news at all, that it's all lies and that there's no point. It only creates more internal chaos. I think there is some truth in that, but I also think it oversteps the mark because I do think that there is really, really good journalism that is happening around the world, that it's important to stay informed as a way of knowing what's happening. And I also feel that, people who share that message typically comes from a place of privilege, meaning that, for example, let's say a policy is enacted somewhere, they will most likely be the last one who is affected by that policy, which means that for the time being, at least, they don't have to care. Whilst the people who are most often affected by these policies are those who come from a disadvantaged background. People who already had very little are being crushed even further. The question is, though, can we do anything about it? And I think that this is perhaps where social justice and engaging with the world is important. I'm someone who practices meditation, energy healing, tarot readings, but I still think that, it's important to engage with real people in the real world and working towards creating positive change in the world, and staying informed is one of the ways that we can do that. Saying all of that, I do think it's really important that we are intentional with the ways in which that we expose ourselves to the news, to social media, to this constant stream of content, which is most often quite unhealthy for our minds. So we have to engage with it in quite an intentional way. And I also think that if we are only consuming content and not doing anything to be of service to ourselves and also other people, then I think it's just a visual circle of like dopamine hits. I do think that engaging with the news is important, but we should also try and do a little something about it, because that leads us to feeling less overwhelmed, less disheartened, and it feels that we're actually doing something with the information that we are receiving. In the midst of all of this chaos, it is so important that we stay true to our high values of compassion, awareness, boundaries, sitting with our intuition, our truth, our presence, and of course, very importantly, discernment. Because there are many content creators online and spiritual teachers online that share content which is very harmful, it is not helpful, and it leads to more division. And so I think it's really important that if and when you consume the news and also just content online, that you are super discerning about how something feels in your nervous system, in your intuition, whether it leads you to feel more safe, connected to yourself and also other people, or whether it's leading to more division. Because I think that if it's leading to more division, then it is so important that you use your discernment to perhaps think, maybe perhaps this content isn't for me. Spiritual growth is not about tuning out. It is about tuning in with discernment. Turning away from the pain of the world can in on itself be a form of escapism, not peace. There is a practice to be and difference between being selective about what you consume and also what you don't. There is real growth in being able to stand quietly and still and calm in the midst of all the chaos that is happening around us. To me, that is true spiritual growth, to be able to engage with something which is truly difficult and truly challenging, and yet still stay true to your calmness, to your stillness, and then also act positively for yourself and also for other people. This is what I try to do. I tune into the news a couple of times a week. I have some very specific resources that I tune in with, who I feel are authentic and genuine in what they are sharing. Um, I listen to sources from the entire political spectrum, not one way or one way. I try to get a wide range of different perspectives just to check in on myself and my own biases. I think that's really key. I think it's really important that you do that for yourself as well, that you listen to a wide range of different perspectives, that you are critical of yourself and also the content that you are consuming, and that if and whenever you feel that you are getting too overwhelmed by consuming this content, you take a moment to yourself, you breathe, you meditate, and you take that time to return back to yourself, so that your nervous system aren't getting too fried from engaging with whatever it is that you are consuming. All of this is, of course, very nuanced and personal. You have to do what feels right to you. I would love to invite you to reflect on how you stay informed and also aligned. And I'd love to hear about that in the comments below this video. I'd love to hear how you do that for yourself. Thank you so much for listening. Subscribe and like if you enjoy this content and if you found it useful. And until next time, I'll see you in the next video.